You have never reacted randomly in your life, not once. Every reaction you've ever had, anger, silence, attraction, fear, confidence, was shaped long before the moment it appeared. You think you choose your behavior, but most of the time, your behavior is choosing for you. Why do some words trigger you instantly? Why do certain people drain your energy without saying a single sentence? Why do you trust some faces and doubt others without evidence? Because human behavior is not driven by logic. It is driven by emotion, memory, and invisible psychological patterns buried deep inside the mind. Most people live their entire lives reacting, never realizing they are operating on scripts written by past experiences, hidden fears, and unconscious desires. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't understand human behavior, you will always be controlled by it, by others, and by yourself. In this book, we are not going to talk about surface-level psychology. We are going beneath words, beneath expressions, beneath social masks. You will learn why people behave one way in public and another in private, how emotions silently control decisions before logic arrives, why influence has nothing to do with force and everything to do with presence, and how reading human behavior changes the way you speak, listen, and lead. This is not about manipulation. This is about clarity, because once you understand behavior, confusion disappears, fear weakens, and awareness becomes power. And if you're someone who wants to see the world clearly, not emotionally blinded, not socially manipulated, not mentally reactive, then this audiobook is for you. Before we go deeper, take a moment to subscribe to Mind Fire Books, because every chapter here is designed to sharpen your awareness, strengthen your thinking, and help you understand the invisible forces shaping human life. Now, take a breath, because once you understand human behavior, you will never see people, or yourself, the same way again. Behavior is a mirror why people act the way they do. Human behavior is never random. It is reflective. Every action a person takes is a mirror, not of the moment, but of something much deeper that already exists inside them. When someone reacts with anger, it is rarely about what you said. When someone withdraws into silence, it is rarely because they have nothing to say. When someone seeks attention, dominance, or validation, it is almost never about power. It is about protection. Behavior is not the truth. Behavior is the signal. Most people make a critical mistake. They judge behavior as character. But psychology teaches us something far more accurate. Behavior is communication, not identity. A person who interrupts constantly may not be arrogant. They may be anxious about being ignored. A person who controls everything may not be confident. They may be terrified of uncertainty. A person who avoids commitment may not be careless. They may be protecting themselves from past pain. What you see on the surface is only the symptom. The cause is hidden underneath layers of emotion, memory, and experience. Every human being carries an internal story, a story shaped by childhood, environment, loss, success, failure, and survival. That story silently asks questions like, am I safe? Am I valued? Am I respected? Do I matter? And behavior becomes the answer to those questions. This is why two people can face the same situation and react in completely opposite ways. One person sees opportunity, another sees threat. One person moves forward, another freezes, not because one is right and the other is wrong, but because their inner experiences are different. When you understand this, something powerful happens. You stop taking behavior personally, you stop reacting emotionally, and you start observing patterns instead of absorbing impact. This doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear. Clear enough to respond instead of react. Clear enough to protect your energy. Clear enough to influence without force. Because once you realize that behavior is a mirror, you stop fighting the reflection and start understanding the source. And this understanding is the first step toward mastery of others and of yourself. The emotional compass why feelings decide before logic. Human beings like to believe they are logical creatures, but psychology tells a different story. We feel first. We decide second, And only after that, we justify. Every major decision in your life, money, relationships, career, trust, was shaped emotionally long before logic entered the room. Logic explains, emotion chooses. This is why two people can hear the same facts and reach opposite conclusions. The information is identical, the emotional filter is not. Emotions act as an internal compass. They don't tell you what is true. They tell you what feels safe, threatening, exciting, or familiar. Fear narrows vision. Desire distorts risk. Anger accelerates judgment. Hope expands tolerance. And because emotions operate faster than conscious thought, they quietly take control before we even realize a decision is being made. This is not weakness. This is wiring. The human brain evolved to survive, not to be rational. Emotion exists to protect you, even when it's wrong. This is why people stay in toxic relationships, why they hold losing investments, why they repeat destructive habits they fully understand are harmful. The emotional brain values familiarity over accuracy. It asks, have I survived this before? Not, is this objectively correct? Social intelligence begins the moment you understand this truth. When someone reacts strongly, you are not dealing with their logic, you are dealing with their emotional history. Tone matters more than words. Timing matters more than arguments. Safety matters more than truth. This is why persuasion through facts alone often fails. You cannot logic someone out of a position they did not logic themselves into. Real influence starts by addressing emotion first, by lowering threat, building safety, and creating resonance. When emotions feel seen, logic is allowed in. And the same applies inward. If you want to master your own behavior, you must stop asking only, what should I do? And start asking, what am I feeling right now? And why? Because until emotion is understood, logic is only decoration. Once you learn to read this internal compass in yourself and in others, you gain an advantage most people never develop. Not control, not manipulation. Clarity. And clarity is power. The subtle art of influence, why people are moved without being forced. Most people misunderstand influence. They believe it comes from authority, from dominance, from speaking louder, asserting harder, or proving superiority. But real influence works in the opposite direction. It is quiet, it is subtle, and most importantly, it is emotional. Human beings are not persuaded by force. They are persuaded by connection. This is why the most influential people in any room are often not the most aggressive ones. They are the calmest, the most grounded, the ones who make others feel seen without trying. Influence does not begin with words. It begins with state, your tone, your presence, your emotional regulation. Before someone hears what you are saying, they sense how you are being. And the nervous system responds faster than the intellect. If your presence feels safe, people open. If your presence feels tense, people resist. If your presence feels judgmental, people defend. If your presence feels grounded, people listen. This is why influence cannot be faked for long. People unconsciously detect inconsistency between words and internal state. Confidence without calm feels aggressive. Kindness without boundaries feels weak. Authority without empathy feels threatening. True influence sits at the intersection of clarity and compassion. It is not about getting people to do what you want. It is about making people feel secure enough to consider something new. This is also why emotional intelligence outperforms raw intelligence in leadership, relationships, and persuasion. People follow those who understand them, not those who try to dominate them. And the same principle applies internally. You cannot force yourself into growth. You cannot bully yourself into change. You cannot shame yourself into discipline. Lasting change happens when you influence yourself emotionally, by creating reasons that feel meaningful, safe, and aligned. This is why fear-based motivation burns out, and identity-based motivation endures. When influence is rooted in self-mastery, it becomes invisible. Others don't feel pushed. They feel drawn. They don't feel controlled. They feel understood. This is the subtle art of influence. Not manipulation, not power, but alignment. And once you understand this, you stop trying to convince people and start creating environments where change feels natural. The mirror effect: how others reflect the state you carry. Human interaction is never neutral. Every conversation, every meeting, every relationship is shaped by something that exists before words are exchanged. Energy, not mystical energy, psychological energy. People unconsciously mirror the emotional state you bring into a space. This is known as the mirror effect. If you enter a conversation tense, guarded, or defensive, others feel it, even if they cannot explain why. Their body tightens, their tone shifts, their openness narrows, not because of what you said, but because of what you carried. The same is true in reverse. Calm invites calm. Respect invites respect. Anxiety invites resistance. This is why arguments often escalate without a clear cause, and why some people consistently experience conflict while others move through the same environments with ease. They are not facing different people. They are projecting different internal states. Most individuals believe others treat them badly. But psychology asks a deeper question. What emotional signal are you broadcasting without realizing it? The mirror effect operates below conscious awareness. Micro-expressions, breathing patterns, eye contact, posture, voice rhythm. These signals speak long before language does. This is why you can walk into a room and instantly sense tension, even when no one has spoken. Your nervous system is reading the room, and the room is reading you. This understanding creates responsibility, because if others are reflecting you, then influence begins internally. You stop trying to control reactions and start regulating state. This is the difference between being a thermometer and a thermostat. A thermometer reacts to the temperature of the room. A thermostat sets it. Most people live as thermometers, absorbing moods, reacting to behavior, escalating emotion. Those who understand the mirror effect learn to become thermostats. They slow their breathing. They soften their tone. They stabilize their presence. And the environment adjusts, not instantly, not magically, but predictably. This is why emotionally regulated individuals are often described as grounding or commanding without appearing dominant. They are not forcing control. They are offering stability. And human systems crave stability. The mirror effect also explains emotional contagion. Fear spreads quickly. Anger multiplies. Confidence transfers. You are never just an individual in interaction. You are a signal source. Once you recognize this, you stop asking, "Why are people like this?" and start asking, "What am I contributing to this dynamic?" This shift changes everything, because when you change the source, the reflection must change. That is not philosophy. That is psychology. Presence is power, why attention shapes authority and trust. In a world full of noise, presence has become rare, and rarity creates power. Presence is not about speaking more. It is about being fully here. Most people are physically present but mentally elsewhere, planning responses, scanning phones, rehearsing thoughts, escaping discomfort. And others feel this absence immediately. When someone is not fully present, trust weakens, connection thins, authority fades. Because presence communicates something deeper than words, "I am here with you." That message alone builds safety. Psychologically, attention is one of the strongest signals of respect. When you give someone your undivided attention, their nervous system relaxes. They feel acknowledged. They feel valued. They feel seen. This is why presence creates influence. Without effort, you don't need to dominate a conversation when your attention already commands it. Presence slows interactions down. It creates space between stimulus and response, the exact space where wisdom lives. This is why emotionally intelligent individuals pause before speaking, listen without interrupting, respond instead of reacting. Their silence is not emptiness, it is control. Presence also reveals truth. When you are fully attentive, you notice inconsistencies between words and tone, between posture and intent, between expression and meaning. Most people miss these signals because they are distracted by their own internal noise. Presence quiets that noise. It turns interaction into observation, and observation creates clarity. This is also why presence feels powerful in leadership. People trust those who are calm under pressure, those who are not rushed, those who do not leak anxiety into the room. Urgency creates instability. Presence creates confidence. The paradox is simple. The less you chase control, the more authority you carry. Presence cannot be faked for long. It requires emotional regulation. If your mind is scattered, your presence collapses. This is why mastering presence is not a social skill alone. It is an internal discipline. It begins with awareness of breath, with grounding the body, with letting go of the need to impress. When attention becomes steady, others lean in. Not because you demand it, but because humans are wired to respond to stability. Presence is power because it removes chaos from interaction. And wherever chaos disappears, trust grows. The flow of interaction, the silent language beyond words. Most communication does not happen through words. It happens in the spaces between them. Tone, timing, posture, pace. This is the silent language that governs human interaction, and it often tells a very different story than spoken sentences. People say what they want others to hear. Their bodies reveal what they actually feel. A calm voice paired with rigid posture signals restraint. A smile paired with shallow breathing signals discomfort. Confidence spoken too quickly often hides anxiety. These signals are not accidental. They are automatic. The human nervous system communicates continuously, even when the mouth is silent. This is why social intelligence depends less on what you say and more on what you notice. Those who understand the flow of interaction do not interrupt it. They adapt to it. They match pace. They respect rhythm. They sense when to speak and when not to. Conversation is not an exchange of information. It is a regulation process. Two nervous systems adjusting to each other in real time. When one person is rushed, the interaction tightens. When one person is grounded, the interaction stabilizes. This is why arguments often escalate, even when neither side intends to fight. The flow has been broken. Someone interrupts. Someone pushes. Someone speeds up when slowing down was required. Social friction is rarely about disagreement. It is about misalignment of rhythm. Think of the most comfortable conversations you've ever had. They flowed. You didn't think about what to say next. You didn't feel pressure to perform. You didn't rush toward conclusions. That comfort came from synchronization. Your breathing matched. Your pace aligned. Your attention stayed present. This is not coincidence. It is biological harmony. People who master this silent language are often described as easy to talk to or naturally charismatic. But there is nothing mystical about it. They are simply attentive to flow. They slow down when tension rises. They pause when emotion surfaces. They allow silence to do its work. Silence, when used well, is not awkward. It is informative. It gives emotions time to surface. It allows truth to emerge without force. This is why skilled communicators are comfortable with pauses. They understand that rushing conversation is a form of control, and control disrupts flow. The same principles apply internally. Your thoughts also have rhythm. When the mind races, clarity disappears. When the body is tense, perception narrows. Mastering interaction with others begins with mastering interaction with yourself. Slow the breath. Relax the shoulders. Anchor attention. From this state, communication becomes intuitive. You stop trying to manage impressions. You stop forcing outcomes. And people respond differently, not because you changed your words, but because you changed the signal underneath them. This is the flow of interaction. Invisible, constant, and always shaping outcomes. Those who learn to read it gain access to a level of understanding that words alone can never provide. Awareness and mastery. How understanding behavior changes the way you live and lead. Awareness is where everything changes. Not knowledge, not information, but awareness. You can read countless books, learn endless theories, and collect psychological terms, yet remain trapped in the same reactions, patterns and limitations. Because change does not begin with knowing. It begins with seeing. Awareness is the ability to notice behavior as it happens, without immediately justifying it, defending it, or acting on it. Most people never develop this skill. They live inside their reactions. They believe every thought. They obey every emotional impulse. And because of this, their behavior feels automatic. Mastery begins the moment you step back and observe. When you notice anger rising instead of becoming anger. When you feel fear without letting fear decide. When you recognize insecurity without building identity around it. This distance, even a small one, creates freedom. Understanding human behavior externally naturally sharpens awareness internally. As you learn to read patterns in others, you begin to see patterns in yourself. You notice what situations trigger you, which emotions control your decisions where. You seek validation where you avoid discomfort. This self-observation is not judgment, it is intelligence. Judgment tightens the mind. Awareness opens it. This is why awareness leads to mastery. Because what you can observe, you can regulate. And what you can regulate no longer controls you. Leadership emerges naturally from this state, not because you assert authority, but because you are no longer reactive. People trust those who are stable. They follow those who are consistent. They respect those who do not leak chaos. Awareness turns pressure into information. It turns conflict into feedback. It turns emotion into guidance instead of command. This is the difference between power and force. Force pushes. Power stabilizes. Those who lack awareness rely on control. Those who have awareness rely on presence. And presence reshapes environments without effort. The more aware you become, the less you need to prove. You stop arguing to be right. You stop reacting to be seen. You stop chasing approval. Not because you don't care, but because you understand. You understand that behavior is context-driven, that emotions pass, that most reactions say more about the system than the individual. This understanding creates patience, and patience creates precision. When you act from awareness, your responses become intentional. You choose timing. You choose tone. You choose silence when silence is stronger than speech. This is mastery, not domination, not superiority, but alignment. Alignment between thought, emotion, and action. When these three move together, life feels simpler, not easier, but clearer. And clarity is what allows you to navigate complexity without being overwhelmed by it. This is the quiet power of awareness. It does not announce itself. It does not demand recognition, but it changes everything it touches. Integration and application, living with psychological clarity in a complex world. Understanding human behavior is not meant to stay intellectual. It is meant to be lived. Knowledge without application becomes noise. Insight without integration becomes arrogance. True psychological mastery appears not in what you explain, but in how you respond when pressure arrives. Life does not slow down to test your awareness gently. It tests you in real time, in conflict, in misunderstanding, in rejection, in moments when emotion rises faster than thought. This is where integration matters. Integration means carrying awareness into action. It means noticing tension in your body and choosing to slow your breath instead of letting anxiety decide your next move. It means sensing defensiveness rising and choosing curiosity instead of escalation. It means recognizing emotional triggers and responding with clarity instead of reflex. Most people understand psychology conceptually. Few embody it behaviorally, because embodiment requires discipline. It requires pausing when reaction feels urgent. It requires silence when expression feels tempting. It requires restraint when ego demands release. This is not suppression. It is regulation, and regulation creates choice. When awareness becomes habitual, your relationships change. You listen more than you interrupt. You ask more than you assume. You observe more than you judge. Others feel this shift. They feel safer. They feel respected. They feel less need to perform or defend. Not because you changed them, but because you changed the environment you bring into interaction. Psychological clarity also reshapes self-direction. You stop chasing validation and start aligning behavior with values. You stop reacting to trends and start responding to reality. You stop confusing urgency with importance. This clarity simplifies decision-making, not by removing complexity, but by reducing emotional interference. You still feel fear. You still feel desire. You still feel uncertainty. But these emotions no longer command behavior. They inform it. This is the difference between being driven and being guided. In a complex world, clarity is not about knowing more. It is about carrying less noise, less projection, less assumption, less emotional excess, and more awareness, more presence, more intention. This is how psychological understanding becomes a lifestyle, not through dramatic change, but through consistent regulation, not through perfection, but through conscious correction. Every interaction becomes practice. Every reaction becomes information. Every moment becomes an opportunity to align. This is what it means to live with psychological clarity, not above others, not detached from emotion, but grounded within yourself. And from that ground, you move through complexity without being consumed by it. Understanding human behavior is not about gaining an advantage over others. It is about gaining clarity within yourself. Throughout this audiobook, you have seen one truth repeated in different forms. That behavior is never random, and reactions are never isolated events. They are patterns. They are signals. They are messages shaped by emotion, memory, and experience. When you learn to read these signals, something subtle but powerful happens. You stop reacting blindly. You stop personalizing what was never about you. You stop confusing emotion with intention. And in that space, awareness grows. Awareness does not make life easier. It makes it clearer. Clear enough to choose responses instead of impulses. Clear enough to regulate emotion instead of being ruled by it. Clear enough to influence environments without force. This clarity changes how you move through the world. You listen more carefully. You speak more intentionally. You pause when others rush. You remain steady when others escalate. Not because you are detached, but because you are grounded. Human behavior will always be complex. People will still project. Emotions will still rise. Misunderstandings will still happen. But when you understand the mechanics beneath behavior, you no longer get pulled into every current. You become the anchor. This is not about perfection. It is about regulation. It is not about controlling others. It is about understanding systems, internal and external. And the moment you understand a system, it loses its power to confuse you. Carry this awareness forward into conversations, into conflict, into leadership, into silence. Let it inform how you listen, how you respond, and how you choose restraint over reaction. Because the greatest form of influence is not persuasion, it is presence. And the deepest form of intelligence is not knowledge, it is awareness. Thank you for listening to Human Behavior by Mindfire Books. If this audiobook sharpened your awareness and strengthened your thinking, continue the journey with us. Because understanding the mind is not a destination, it is a lifelong practice. And the clearer you see, the freer you become.